Spiritual 911s, what are they and how to use them? I'm Fractal Future and welcome to the Vanguard of Light, where we're dedicated in helping energy sensitive people enhance their abilities and uplift other people with their gifts. So, spiritual 911s, what are they and how do you use them? We're going to talk about 5 things. First being, what are they? And the 4 specific spiritual 911s. We'll probably add more, but for now we've got 4. So, what are they? They're when you're in the gutter, when you're feeling terrible, you see no light, you're like, what's the point? Yada, yada, yada. You could have had a big giant win and all of a sudden it feels like you're in a terrible reversal and it's like, what is going on? That's what a spiritual 911 is for, where you just jump in and it's going to be a mantra to repeat over and over and over and over again, and it's to uplift that darkness. Because basically it's kind of, think of yourself like you have a big giant fort, right? And you got your, you got your limitations, it's like things are working, things aren't, but you're still in a stable state. You kind of got a good vibe on what's going on. You still have possibility in your life. But then when the darkness gets inside, then it starts running amok and where everything just kind of implodes on itself. And that's when the spiritual 911 is necessary. And it's not about technique. It's not about a clearing. It's not about this. It's about let's get that darkness out and get the light back in. And then we can talk about clearings. Then we can talk about upliftment. Then we can talk about what's our next step, or talk about your dreams. You don't want to bring your goals, your dreams to the spiritual exorcism. So you leave all that out. You don't worry about what your dreams are, where you're going, what you have to do for this or that. No, you just let that all go. Kind of like you're putting that on pause. You're hiding that from the darkness and you're directly addressing the darkness with the spiritual 911 to get that upliftment, because you're going to get that darkness out, because we don't want it in there. It's going to run amok. It's going to tell tons and tons of lies. None of the information is correct, and we just need to get it out. It's got inside the back door. It's time for it to go. So the first one we're going to talk about is safe. So you're going to be saying, my soul is here, I am safe. My soul is here, I am safe, while focusing on your root chakra. My soul is here, I am safe. You say it about 3 times and you say, I reject all lies. My soul is here, I am safe. My soul is here, I am safe. And that's pretty much to reground you, reroot you in this, like your spiritual safety. Because you feel like you're tormented. You feel like you're just getting attacked, and you are. But you got to reinforce that spiritual truth and uplift that darkness. That's one of them. You'll just follow whichever one you land on. I mean, you don't have to really worry about it should be this one or should that one. No, if you're in the darkness, you just land on one. All of them will bring in light. And eventually you'll start working out of okay, wait a second. If I'm feeling this, I'm not feeling worthy. So that's another worthy is I am worthy. 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 And then I reject all lies. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy. I reject all lies. So that's another one of the spiritual 911s. And you're just going to repeat it over and over and over and over, bringing in that light, bringing in that truth. And you don't have to worry about what the darkness is saying, what's going on in your head, because you're flooding it with the spiritual truth. And eventually that lifts, right? And if it comes back, you just keep flooding it again. And then you're starting to battle hard yourself, because you're it's when you're in the dark of the dark, and then you start kind of infusing these spiritual truths, so it's less and less that darkness can come and have that sidewind you. And if it does, that no, I'm flooding my mind, because it's going to lie to you. It's going to lie to you about your dreams. It's going to lie to you about your progress. It's going to lie to you about what you want, what you don't want. It's just going to lie. All it is there is to lie and run amok. That's why it's like a 911 where it's nope, stop what you're doing and really flood your mind with these mantras, just over and over and over again, because you just got to get it out, because it's inside your, happens, it's inside your mind sanctuary. And then it's kind of the best thing to do is just get it out, because it's going to lie about the clearings you're doing. Because a lot of times this happens when you're in an upliftment, right? Because you could start opening up abilities, say you open up ability of better able to empath, right? So you might start picking up other people's negativity, but you didn't pick it up before. You didn't know that's what you're doing, right? And all of a sudden you're getting flooded with this negativity because you don't know how to manage it, because you've up-leveled, right? And so that's how that negativity can flood you. And then the darkness comes in, and all of a sudden it's wait a second, I thought I was doing good. Now I'm doing terrible. This doesn't work. This is bad. Nah, None of that's true. That's just the darkness got inside your mind gate, inside your mind sanctuary. And it's like, it's just lying to you. That's why you get spiritual 911, you just jump into one of them. You don't have to be specific on which one you choose, because if it's got you, you can choose any of them, right? And eventually you'll get like, oh, you'll start feeling if it's like, oh, I'm getting down. Okay, wait a second. This is matter, right? And you'll get tuned up, because once you get kind of battle hardened using this, then you'll know of like, oh, they got in. Oh, matter. You know, I inherently matter. I reject all lies. 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 Because you inherently matter. That's a spiritual truth. I mean, God put you here. So you obviously matter. You know, God didn't make a mistake of putting you here. And it's just reinforcing that, like, no, I matter. And you're not going to feel like you matter. That's because the darkness came in. You're not going to feel like you matter. You're not going to feel like you're worthy. You're not going to feel like you're lovable. And you're not going to feel like you're safe. But that's inherent truths. And if you don't have a little bit, like, we can't necessarily be perfect. And there's going to times you have a little dip and feel like, I don't feel, I feel bad, And that's when we do clearings and tune that up of like, no, wait a second. That's, no, I do inherently matter. No, I am inherently worthy. But you can kind of battle it, right? That's when we can do clearings. We can tune up the energy, like, clean ores, clean chakras, and kind of get to, but it's when you gotten attacked and you're not feeling like there is worth in there or that you do matter at all. And you can be like, well, yeah, I do matter. But, it's not like, no, I matter. And you're pushing it out. It's like, it's got you. That's when we're doing these 911s, because it's like, it's completely lying to you. Everything, the less time you can spend it, the better, because it's just lying. It's complete lies. Because if you can't access, then you inherently matter, or you're inherently worthy or lovable or safe. When you are safe, then it's complete lies. They've gotten in the back door, not a problem. That's what these spiritual 911s are for. I mean, that's what they're for. So the last one is, I love myself. 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 I reject all lies. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. I reject all lies. Now, you don't have to remember, this is just the intro video. It's not marked as a spiritual 911, because this is just talking about it, right? But if you're needing a spiritual 911, you'll see the red bar that's on them, and they'll say 911, and you don't have to worry about which one it is, because you just click on one, and it will walk you through the process, and I'll be there with you, just getting after it. If they got you, click on one of those. And if you don't happen to be there and you remember, so you're kind of learning it now that you're not necessarily in a 911. If you're in a 911, go click on them right now. Don't worry about what I'm saying here. Click on them, get in there, and get uplifted. But once you kind of got light back in there, right? And you kind of got possibility. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be like, oh my gosh, I feel super amazing. No, but you don't feel that complete implosion, I feel like dirt. When that has uplifted, then you can come back and check out the other ones and kind of get a feel for them, to where if you're not like by a computer and you can't, or by your phone and you can't pick one of them up, you can still do it. And you can even do it in a crowded room. You say it in your head, like, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And you just emphatically say that in your head, and I reject all lies. And you just anchor and you choose, you can intuitively choose one of them, like right now, just like to learn it. And just know it, so it's in your back pocket to when it all implodes, and all of a sudden you get in those thoughts of like, well, energy work doesn't work, and this is all crap, and blah blah blah, and this is that, and this never happened. And when that's happening to you, you can just pull it out and just like, nope, that's the darkness imploding me. I'm a being a light. That's a no-go. I'm pushing it out, and you want to push it out as fast as possible, because it feels terrible. It's one of the worst feelings. It's like kind of like, and this is kind of like, because you're energy sensitive and you have embraced the light, or at least you're wanting to embrace the light. You might not feel it's fully realized, that's fine, but you're wanting to embrace the light. There's like, a greater like experience happening out there, and there's a higher power, and there's all that happening, right? You can feel that, you can sense that. But when the boogeyman gets you, it kind of pulls you away. And that's kind of how I call them the norms, is the people that haven't yet embraced their light, or are just kind of turning away from it, because that's real painful. It's really painful when you're connected and hooked up, and then all of a sudden you get imploded, and it's like, that hurts, right? So a lot of times when you're in that pain, you just distract yourself. You kind of just say, oh, well, that, that whole bigger world's not out there. So you don't feel bad about not feeling it and being detached from it, because you're just like, well, it's just gone. Nah, I don't feel it. But when you're energy sensitive, you do feel it. And then when it gets inverted, it feels real bad. That's a spiritual 911. It feels terrible. Because like I had this great connection. It could have been yesterday. It could have been 2 hours ago. And all of a sudden it just went, and it's like, what? Am I not getting anywhere? It's like, no, you actually most likely have up-leveled, right? You increased your ability. Like a perfect analogy is like say we're all driving around and our cars only go 20 miles an hour, right? And they're just governed. They just don't go over 20 miles per hour. So you get in the car and you just jam your foot on the gas because they're like this. I mean, it takes forever to go anywhere. So it's just like you just jam your foot on the gas, in a couple minutes you're going 20 miles per hour and you're just like, do. And that's like what most people are going along. They're going along in life 20 miles an hour. But when you start waking up in your spiritual gift, now all of a sudden your car goes 60 and you hit the gas and it like takes off like a rocket. That you need new skills. If you were used to your car going 20 and it's been going like 20 for years and years and years and years, and you're used to just jamming your foot on the gas and nothing happening, and all of a sudden you start waking up your spiritual gifts and you hit your foot on the gas and you get like thrown back and they're like, whoa! One, it's super exciting and awesome, but two, it requires more skills. So you're more likely to get into a crash, or more likely to be like, whoa, I can't control this, right? So there's a chance for the darkness to come in because you've up-leveled. But then once the darkness gets in, it makes you think that you didn't up-level. It makes you feel like you're not going anywhere. It makes you feel like you're failing, right? So when that comes in, it's like, no. Spiritual 911. So that's what the spiritual 911s are for. Let's quickly go over. So one, they're when you don't feel the light, you don't feel hope, you don't feel gratitude, you don't feel love. Even if it's not like you can feel that stuff but it doesn't feel strong, you can do clearing exam. But when you just don't feel it and it feels like you ain't making any progress, that's time for a spiritual 911. And we've got 4 of them. So we talked about, I love myself. We talked about I inherently matter. We talked about I am worthy. And we talked my soul is here, I am safe. So those are the 4 that we currently have. So you can just jump in. It doesn't matter if you're in the dark and it's starting to say, oh, you're not picking the right one. Just know you're in the dark. Just pick anyone. Just remember, it's lying to you. So you start hearing you don't know which one to pick anyone. And you just go after it. You'll uplift that darkness because you are extremely powerful. And the only way it can keep you less than powerful is by tricking you. So when you're in that complete doubt, it's just tricking you. Spiritual 911 will uplift that. So I hope this gives you an idea what they're for. Please check them out. So you have them in your back pocket. So whenever that comes get you, because I want you out of that as fast as possible, because it's a terrible place for an energy sensitive person to be. It's not where you want to be. We just can't have you there, because we need you realizing your gifts. Everybody else on the planet needs you realizing their gifts, because they're basically in a spiritual 911 and they don't want to look at it. And they've got themselves numbed up till they don't feel it, and they don't want to open up to it because it's going to be painful to open up and be like, oh, I got everything, I don't know it. But that's not you. You're an energy sensitive, and we've got to be up-leveled. So when they do pop out of it, you're going to be there to help them. Be like, hey, I got you. Don't worry about that. You was in the spiritual 911. You don't know about it now, but hey, I've got all these new abilities. Let's get you into the light. Let's get you into the joy. And then they never want to go back. And then we just have, a planet of people, all on the uplift path. So hope this has helped. Until we talk again, have a blessed day or a blessed night. Also, if you liked it, hit the like button. Please subscribe so you have all the new videos coming out. And we will have new spiritual 911s coming out. But the ones that are there, they will lift the darkness. So until we talk again, have a blessed day or a blessed night.